over there. I'm gonna y'all can just
Established Titles for sponsoring this video. Established Titles bases itself on historic Scottish custom, where landowners are referred to as lairds. Today, those landowners would be called a lord, like him, or a lady, like me. You too can become a lord or lady by simply purchasing at least 1 square foot of dedicated land in Scotland. With this purchase, a tree is planted in your name as a fun way to preserve the picturesque woodlands of Scotland. All while raising funds to support local charities like One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future. Please click the link below to get 10% off with our code HORROR on top of their Black Friday sale. These title packs grant you a plot of land on a private estate in Scotland and an official certificate proving your title. You can also see the exact location your land is with a unique plot number. With your new Lord or Lady title, you can officially change your name on your credit card, plane tickets, or even your dating profile. When I found out he was a lord, I had to get the second name. You can choose from the lordship pack, the ladyship pack, or the couple title pack, so both you and your partner can be landowners together. Established Titles is having their Black Friday sale by visiting establishedtitles.com/horror or clicking the link below. You can save 10% off with our discount code HORROR. Become a lord or lady today.
Yes, right, today. Yes, today the first was a lot. You think you got today in what, June? I did 22.
I can't imagine most people having enthralling dinners under the roof of a KFC. But I, for one, remember dining there far more times than the average person. It used to be something my parents would do for me and my siblings back in the day. It wasn't enough for them to just bring it home. They wanted it to be more than just taken. A family outing.
Granny butter is a lot this year.
That said, I couldn't tell you I hated
After Granny
until the last time I went.
After Granny birthday.
I was just about to
after Granny birthday, my birthday.
And they convinced me to go with them to KFC.
After Granny birthday is mine, then it's mine. After Granny birthday, my birthday, then it's mine.
Nostalgic. I don't think any one of us still cared for the food there. It's different now. Anyways, my parents and I were just minding our business in the dining room of the KFC, chewing on regrettable numbers of questionable pieces of fried chicken in silence. My dad had just excused himself to the restroom after I tried to break the ice by asking what him and my mom would do after I left home. That's when this man barged in. A man that looked exactly like the Colonel of Kentucky Fried fame. But it couldn't be him. The real Colonel was long dead. Everyone in the building, the customers and the employees, all turned their heads at this guy. Well, a mighty fine Friday afternoon to y'all. I'm Colonel Sanders. Before I taken flight, or whatever, I by asking what him and my mom would do after I left home. That's when this man barged in. A man that looked exactly like the Colonel of Kentucky Fried fame. But it couldn't be him. The real Colonel was long dead. Everyone in the building, the customers and the employees, all turned their heads to this guy. Well, a mighty fine Friday afternoon to y'all. I'm Colonel Sanders. Right as he started speaking, I think the majority of us dropped our guard. By that point, everyone had seen the new commercials for KFC with that weird-looking spokesman/character person. And this guy nailed the act. It seemed obvious that this was some sort of corporate PR stunt.
Why you look like that?
With an actor for the mascot and a real unwilling customer. For the most part, though, people just shrugged and went back to eating idly as the Colonel continued. I care indubitably for the quality of my establishments, which is why I'll be performing a full top-down inspection of this franchise today for all of you wonderful folks. Yes, managers, go check for a special message on your computers. The employees seemed to believe the guy too, at least for the moment, so the rest of us went along with it. I was just hoping we weren't being filmed by some hidden camera crew. Though my mother and I went on pretending to talk to each other, we were watching the Colonel from the corner of our eyes. He'd started his inspection in the dining room, walking up to all the tables and asking each of the customers, "How's your food, sir? The staff treat you well? Everything to your liking?" But each time, with every customer, at the end of his questions, he leaned over the table and stared unflinchingly down into their eyes and asked, "Tell me, finger licking good.
Roku Ads Manager puts Roku's reach within your reach.
We're doing what I
Sign
want.
up at ads.roku.com.
We're
I
doing
wasn't
what I
always
want.
here, but thanks to Purdue Global, I got my literal dream job.
3 years ago, I didn't have a degree. I liked my job. I just had a ceiling. I needed the credentials. I never thought college was my thing. Getting a degree backed by the power of Purdue. Come on.
But going to class from wherever.
Most of the responses were short, yeah, sure, or an, I think we're done here. The colonel would then hover over them for a few seconds while smirking. He then did the strangest thing. He started licking his own fingers. Slowly, people started to become a little more aware of him. The scene was weird as he would stare directly into customers' eyes while doing this action. I just hoped that he wouldn't visit our table. With that being said, he scurried over to us as though he could read my mind. Well, how nice to see a young man repay his mother with a nice dinner. He spoke to both of us, but he only looked at me. And by that I mean, he didn't blink, twitch, or glance away, even a little bit. You're a fine young man, ain't you, boy? I started trembling. I knew this dinner was going to be tense, but I hadn't thought I'd be put on the spot quite like this. Thank you, sir. No. Thank you for dining here, son. How's your fried chicken? Tell me, is it up to your standards? I trust you now. My eyes darted around, looking for a response, a sign from my mom, or to see my dad appear from the restroom. But everything seemed frozen. Very suddenly, the colonel fell to his knees beside me, reaching for my hands. Tell me now, boy, is it finger licking good? He kept leaning in towards me with his mouth hanging open, staring at my fingers, like he himself was about to lick the crumbs off of them to prove it. That's when my dad finally got off the toilet and came back to his family. He shouted, "Hey, weirdo!" He then yanked that wacko away from me faster than I could even react. The colonel tumbled to the greasy floor of the dining room. You trying to propose to my son, punk? Get out of here before I make you wish I was a cop. Whoever that guy was, he wasn't official KFC staff, but he was definitely a whip. He didn't put up any sort of fight after my dad threw him. He just rushed to his feet, laughed at us for a moment, then ran out the door. Come on, Margaret. We're getting out of here. We all got up and left the table. And I think that'll be the last time I ever step foot within 100 feet of a KFC. Later that weekend, my dad called the news from the local channel which stated, the guy who impersonated the colonel had gotten arrested the night after we saw him. Reports say he disguised himself as the mascot to get into close proximity with customers to harass them. He then took it a step further by grabbing their greasy fingers and biting them off. He would flee the scene immediately after and hit up at least 5 locations before getting caught by the police. Several people were missing fingers from that one spree. I was stunned to see just how close I got to becoming an unfortunate victim of that weirdo's hunt for greasy fingers. And to this day, I get queasy whenever I see fried chicken. I was a high school graduate that recently got hired for full-time work at KFC. We were the biggest chicken venue around town, as places like Popeyes weren't as big of a franchise at the time. Our hours of operations were usually 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., sometimes 12 p.m. for close if it was the weekend. The job came second nature. It was always clock in, clean up, fry the chicken, and of course assist any customer at the cashier. There was one memorable time when I was on my way to work and I encountered a homeless man that literally dressed up as the colonel. I was initially a little skeptical that he was homeless from his fancy attire, but from the rumors circulating from the other employees, he had recently started panhandling around the area for the past several weeks. As I made my way towards the front door, the colonel raises his plastic cup at me and says, "Milad, spare an old fellow some change?" Sir, I only make minimum wage. If it wasn't for me, KFC wouldn't exist, kid. At least spare me some leftover chicken during your lunch break, okay? Get a job, old man. The first initial weeks of the job were swell, but things took a sudden turn for the worst. We had started running low on chicken, and my boss began to point the finger at me. He assumed I had been taking home chicken after my shift was done, but I assured him it wasn't me. This began happening on multiple occasions where large batches of chicken suddenly started disappearing. It had come to a point where my boss began to threaten my job. I pleaded with my boss to investigate the day shift employees, but it was impossible for them to be the culprits as he supervised them during that shift. Stop eating my chicken, kid! Sir, it's not me. I bring my own lunch. If any more chicken goes missing in this kitchen, you're fired. You hear me? Yes, sir. It was finally that time again. The night shift. Or should I say, my potential last shift at KFC. My pride and ego wouldn't allow me to accept the fact that I was being falsely accused. So I remained at the front counter, while occasionally looking behind my shoulder every 5 minutes or so. The time was roughly 11:50 p.m. on a Friday. I was just about to wrap up another successful shift until I heard a loud thud coming from the kitchen area. I began to cautiously walk to the back and saw no sign of anyone. No raccoons, no lurking intruders, just the standard kitchen appliances window securely locked in place. That's when I heard a sound coming from the stock room where we kept all our inventory. I could hear the sound of fingers chewing as I approached the door. I knew someone had to be in there eating all my fried chicken. This going to be the day I finally catch the culprit in the act. I placed my hand through the door handle and opened the door in one swift motion, unveiling the same colonel I had seen before and dousing his face with fried chicken. My suspicions were accurate. The reason for all the missing chicken stood there before me. How the hell did you get in here? Well, I couldn't resist. Y'all make a big enough batch to feed the whole town, might I say. It was you. You were the one that was eating our chicken the whole time. How could I not? It's so finger-licking good. I slammed the door shut, making sure to lock it so I didn't have to get physical with the colonel. He then started violently punching the door with his bare fists as I stood back and all, not knowing whether I should call the cops or run the hell out of there. Open the door! I'm gonna show you a new meaning of finger-licking good, kid! Leave it alone before I call the cops! I sprinted.
Love Roblox? Earn Roblox digital gift cards with Microsoft Rewards. Sign up for Microsoft Rewards and earn points for your everyday activities. When you search on Bing, play on Xbox.
What the hell?
I sprinted towards the front counter, arming myself with a knife from the kitchen. I began dialing 911 while trying to explain to the operator the bizarre situation I was in. After a long 10 to 15 strenuous minutes, the police finally showed face. I began directing them to the stock room where I had initially trapped them.
It smells hot, doesn't it? It smells like they're burning out. It's really hot.
Ran their way through the door only to see no sign of the colonel. What we then discovered was that there was a panel on the ceiling that had been removed, thus allowing access for any culprit to enter and exit the building at their convenience. After further investigation, it was later found out through parking lot surveillance cameras that the colonel had been sneaking through the KFC building every night through the same panel on the roof leading to the stockroom. He had been eating our chicken for God knows how long. What makes this story more discomforting was how he would casually jump across the roof and into the KFC bucket sign, just so he could crawl inside and sleep there every night. All I know is that that man is mentally sick in the head and needs to seek some kind of professional help.
Are you gonna sleep on me?
I used to be friends with this guy who worked at KFC. His name was Jake. I knew him for years throughout school. When we got out, we ended up getting jobs in the same strip mall. I worked at the GameStop just across the
I didn't know they had whites.
he worked at. I could
I
see
didn't know
the
that was
colonel
white.
sign
I
out
thought
of
it
the
was
window
something
all
else.
day long. So by the end of my shifts, I was usually craving some fried chicken. Plus, it was always nice to stop by and talk to my friend Jake at the register. After I finished work one night, I decided to buy some chicken for dinner, and to remind Jake to get on Call of Duty once he got home. I knew he was working that night, and he told me his shift would be ending soon after mine. However, I didn't see him when I walked into the restaurant. Actually, there was hardly anyone in there, except one person behind the register where Jake should have been standing. I'd never seen this guy. For some reason, he looked out of place behind a fast food counter, like it was his first day or something. He stared at me awkwardly as I approached the register. To my surprise, however, his customer service was more friendly and hospitable than just about anyone I'd ever seen working minimum wage. Good evening, sir. How may I take your order? Have you seen Jake? I wanted to stop by and say hi to him. Oh, Jake's on break, good sir, but I can help you. On break? It didn't make sense that Jake would wait until the end of his shift to take his only break. I tried to discreetly look behind the guy at the counter and into the kitchen. From what I could see, the kitchen was empty. There was nobody at work back there. No cleaning, no dishwashing going on, not one sound or sight in the whole place except me and this weird guy. And he didn't even have a name tag. Excuse me, I don't mean to be that guy, but is your manager around? I am the manager, good sir. Yes, it's just me tonight, holding it down for the customers. Why do you ask? Are you interested in becoming part of the KFC team? Thank you, but no, I'm already employed. I was still wearing my GameStop uniform at the time, so I pointed to my name tag. Ah, well, I see. It's a shame, though. You would have made great fried chicken. Could I just get a 10-piece bucket and a Coke?
Eat some today.
Sure thing, Flynn. Cash only, by the way. The card reader's broken. I handed him $10 and reluctantly tipped him some quarters from the change he gave me. I felt a little bad for being rude to the guy, but I just felt so much more at ease when he finally walked away. It took him several minutes to come back with my order, even though no other customers came inside or through the drive-thru while I waited. Every one of those minutes was tense. All I wanted to do was get my fried chicken, go home, and play some video games with my friend, wherever he was. When, at last, I finally got my meal, I grabbed it and rushed out of there, paying no attention to the bone-chilling ear-to-ear grin on that weird guy's face as he handed me the bucket. I sped off in my car and drove home in a rush to get away from him. I changed out of my work clothes in a flash, then got online and ready to game. And while I waited for Jake to get on, I started to eat my dinner for the night. 10 delicious pieces of heart-stopping, artery-clogging fried chicken. I remember thinking to myself as I mowed through the pieces, man, this has got to be the best Kentucky Fried Chicken I've ever had. I guess that guy could have been the manager. It's so good. It doesn't even taste like chicken. Maybe it's duck. After a while, I started to slow down. Jake still hadn't got on, and I only had about 3 pieces of chicken left. That's when I noticed something strange at the bottom of the bucket. It was breaded like fried chicken, but it was too small to be that. It was a small rectangular thing. Out of curiosity, I fished it out of the bucket. As soon as I picked it up, all the breading crumbled away, revealing a small piece of white plastic with a pin glued onto it. Did that weird guy lose his name tag in the batter? But when I turned it over, the name printed on it was... Jake! The whole time I've been waiting on him, he was wafting into my nose, getting ground between my teeth, and sliding down into my stomach.